Today we are going to start removing some things on the 87 Trans Am so we can start doing a piece by piece, part by part video on swapping in the 5.3 into this car. And we got to do with the subtle beginning things so that I can make more content, for one, and two, so I have time from work. We'll start with removing my headers and white pipe that I left in here when I pulled the 400. We got to separate the harness and the headlights, remove that junk from the old TPI, and we'll take these clamshell motor mounts off and put in the LS swap plates. I actually replaced this brake line when I pulled the 350 TPI out before I put the 400 in. I do remember doing that. And I want to say I did the brake line on the left side. It looks like I do because it's the same material compared to the... Yeah, I did. Okay, yeah, I did. Because I can see where I bent the bend. Okay, this was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought I was going to have to unbolt something, but less work for me is good. Neighbors, Chevelle. Okay, back to action. White pipe's out, pulled out. That was actually way easier than I thought it would be. I thought that was going to be a little bit of a snug pull. So now some other little thing I want to get out is this. When I was doing the heater core pipes and everything, I got rid of the air conditioning stuff, and I don't know if I damaged this, probably did. We'll get a new one or fix this. I got to get this pipe off. So it's a 7. Who would have guessed it, right? So next on the Trans Am, I think we need to remove these clamshell motor mounts, because the way I did it when I LS swapped an 86 Trans Am was I put these on the block and I put the swap motor mounts, which I'll show in just a minute, on the K member. I do think I remember, but these bolts have nuts on the back side of them inside the K member, the subframe there, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because I remember I had a wrench I had to heat up and bend it towards an angle to probably get this nut on this back side. But I'm going to try and break these loose without crawling underneath and doing it. Then I'm going to have to jack it up, go underneath, and I'm going to have to find out a wrench to hold underneath the bolt. Then I'm going to have to go up top, and then I'm going to have a nightmare, and then yeah, so let's get to it. So the bolts on the clamshell mounts are 15 millimeter, and this is what I remember. I got to get up in there. Because they have nuts on the back side. I'm gonna have to get up in there and see what size those are. I don't even have anything holding the bolt on the other side. I just put a 15 on the nut inside until it drops down in here. There we go. Here's where I'm worried that bolt's gonna drop. Nut, I mean. Not quite there. I got the nut off. Don't lose your washers that they have. Big old washers. You could always get new ones. But I want to put the tubular K member in here, so I'm not worried about using rusty hardware, because I plan on coming back and making my life difficult and doing this all over again. There's one. Now I got 3 on each side. So this is where I need, you don't take the control arm off, I need a bent wrench, which I heated one up and bent it, and I don't think I still have it. Once I block the sun out of my eyes, I got my second nut off, but I'd seem to have dropped the washer. So what I did was I took this ratchet wrench and I stuck it up on there, and then I went up top for my hand like this and I twisted it, and I had to kind of hold this at an angle. Wedging it didn't work, so I kind of had to just barely bend it like this, push it up on there, and then once it turned I had to hold it, and then I had to try and crack it from up top, and that's how I did it. Oh, crusty bolts on your own. Wow. It's definitely time to change all this up front. I mean, look at the sway bar bushings, even the control arm bushings. Look at this. Idle arm, the control arms, just everything, man. The end links, the center link, it's all trash, man. Tie rods, inner and outer. I've got ball joints for this car as well. I don't think I'll change the struts. Maybe. Okay, let's try and get this last third bolt out of this side, which is right there. Yay! Call me crazy, but did GM put this hole on the K member? I think I may have just unlocked the secret weapon, because then I put my wrench in there, and I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but I put my wrench in there, and then I put it on the nut like this, and then it held in there. Obviously this isn't the right length or proper GM tool, but I think this is the correct way to go. I should have did this with that one. But anyways, that's all three of them. I lost two of the washers. I should get all three new ones. I probably will, but we'll see if we can find them. Am I gonna get new rubber bushing mounts? Of course not. And now I'm on the right hand side. I want to try and rinse and repeat 15 millimeter. Jesus, look at that thing. I don't know how. We'll see. One more off. It is the bottom one. This one was a little bit trickier. I used the ratchet up top, opposite of I did on the driver's side, and I used my angled ratchet wrench on here. I did spray WD-40 on it these times, the bolts anyways, and then I went back and forth, and then I put my boxed in wrench up top, and then I came down and used some extensions to kind of wiggle it loose. But it wasn't a pain. Now, the fun part. Got my ratchet, and I'm using, hold on, take a ride with me. I'm using that hole that I guess I unlocked the secret on the other side with. That or I just never knew. And I'm on right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. Can I do this with one hand without it falling off? There's two off. That one actually went really easy. For some reason, it had a very small nut. I don't know if someone's been in here and changed these mounts before, it definitely doesn't look like it's from 87, considering the motor I put in was the third motor in this car, because it did have a 4-bolt main 350 when I pulled it, and it spun a rod bearing, not a main bearing, but a rod bearing. And I sold that block as well as the 400 I put in here. Let's try to continue on our part 1 of our LS swap on the 87 Trans Am. And there she is, right there. Okay, the third one's out. That actually went very quickly, not even 10 minutes on this side. I did find both, or I should say all 3 washers, whereas the other side I lost these 2 yet so far. Haven't found them yet. So I guess this is from the factory. It uses the big heavy boy washer on the bottom closest to the inside, and the top 2 would be the small washers, just in case for reference. Yeah. I would like to clean these up, maybe paint them before I put them on the 5.3. Same with these. I got to go get some brake cleaner. Maybe I'll spritz them, the bolt heads anyways, and WD-40 these. But these I definitely want to clean up. Okay, well, this was to the radiator. I think I'm going to take this pipe off. And I think I want to remove the wiring, which means I got to come down here, go through the passenger side, and get it out of the ECU. Might as well take that out as well. Then it goes over to the firewall. There's a battery. Cable's disconnected too, even though I'm going to reuse them. And my wiring to my fans, I don't remember how I did it with these relays, but they were both on a relay and toggle switches. They both worked, but I need to remove all that. I need to declutter this engine bay, start fresh. By fresh I mean a cheap wiring harness for a swap off eBay. When I first did the LS swap in 86 Trans Am, there's videos on the channel from years and years and years ago. I was only the second person on YouTube to have it done other than Hawks. I sent my wiring harness off to a place called Spear Tech. They did my wiring harness, and it was $900, way overpriced. And they didn't even have a tachometer ever hooked up right. I never did get it fixed before I sold that car on eBay. This is the emissions pipe. I'm going to get rid of that too. SAD cable. I need to disconnect all this. Let's get it hooked up here. Nothing. I'll save that. And we got this. Connects, runs down in there. I disconnected my relays. This is where I tapped into for my fan. I don't remember which one. Actually, maybe it's both of them. I don't know. So, one relay, it looks like I just put a zip tie on. And I'm going to cut these because I'm going to rewire the fans anyways. And then this one, looks like I still have a ground somewhere. pop that off. Ground wires out. I need to come in here and remove this. This is the emissions line, but I guess I could cut it here and then come back and do it later. Man, look at all that. If you had a up to 86 was optional. Well, I think even 87 had a few, because I had 87 Camaro that was factory carbureted, but 82 to 86 it had a carburetor. Your fuel lines that run along the rail on the left-hand driver's side, if you had a carbureted factory model, all your lines come over the transmission tunnel and they run along the rail, and they go over here for your fuel pump that's down here on the block. But if you have a fuel injection, your fuel lines are over here, which is what you want for LS swap, except we have to break these fuel hoses off, which I will do. But this is the emissions line. We don't need that where we're going. I'm gonna try and pop that off, break that, and later on we'll tear it out of the lines coming from the tank. This is for the air conditioner. I'll probably keep that. Get rid of this emissions crap. Nice little scratch on the fender. So again, if you have a fuel injection, your main return, or excuse me, your feed return and your brake line are going to run up along the driver's side. Here are my fuel lines. You'll have to disconnect them there to do your hoses for your LS. And your emissions line runs along the tunnel like I just showed you, comes over here and to your canister. What we're going to do is take the engine harness. We don't need to worry about the HVAC stuff. It runs in through here behind the dash. This is separate. We do need this big clunk that runs along the front. And then when we go over there, it separates on the firewall with your headlight harness, which, oh, I think we'll do the computer first, which is behind the dash on the passenger side. On a slightly different topic, look at that. Oh yeah. Boy, I got to get back to this interior. This interior was flawless. I got from a parts car. It was a 91 GTA, and none of this was here. This is from my neglect. It's pretty bad. No, that's not a snake skin. That's what goes along with this. And the interior was flawless. It's all dented up from the door panel and armrest and everything I had in. As you can see, all the mold and everything. So when I do the interior on this car, everything's going to come out, even the carpet. I'm going to check the floors, even though they're fine from underneath, as you've seen in previous videos. But I'll have to do a deep shampoo and cleaning and get the new T-top seals in. And boy, oh boy. Wait, do you see the condition of some stuff? All right, the under dash stuff is 7mm. I don't need to go over this again. Look at that heat warp. All the years. Whoops. Oh, I damaged my good dash. Oh no. Oh no. Maybe I'll sand that down. No, I won't. I am going to put a 4th gen dash in here and a 4th gen console. Okay, this has got my computer, which it's dropped. I guess I didn't bolt that back. This is what's holding the ECU. I had to change this at one point because the motor wouldn't start, and it ended up being a fuse relay that was mounted on the fender. There's one on each side. One of them, I think it was this side, was blown, and it was a 20 if I remember right. That's all it was. And I ended up buying a new computer for the car, and like a dummy I threw away the old one. And when I bought that computer for this car, it was 2011, before I did the motor, and they used to be $75 at AutoZone, brand new, or excuse me, remanufactured. But I need to get this kick panel off so the wiring can feed through. This Trans Am was nice. It used to have gray interior, which is really nasty, and I, like I said, swapped it out for these parts. I mean, it had the upper console from the factory. Of course, I put those in. I don't know why I always do this, because I'm paranoid about a fire. Not like that fire extinguisher will do anything. Okay, the computer's out. I think they used to be 10 millimeters. No, they were definitely 7s. I need to disconnect this, and then I need to push this. Is that rust? It doesn't appear to be, although there is flakes. This padding from the factory, although it does insulate the car really well. God, it gets hot, but I am gonna have to adios that stuff. And sorry, I'm just kind of looking over everything. Okay, let's get the computer disconnected. Squeeze the inside and outside if you can get it. Okay, there's the brain box. Okay, so that's all you have to do is clip that back. It's just right here on the side. Dummy. All right, this one, here's your main connection right here. See the pink and the orange. Okay, that side's undone. This one's not one of the... They disconnected. Okay, I have no idea what part of that got on camera. Like I said, I don't know what's on camera, what's not. This one is just the side right here. You just push. I don't know why I disconnected up there. I feel like I've done that a bunch of times. Here's your main control. That is the what is this? What is this? So when you take this off or push it through, whatever, you need to mess with this. Clip falls out. You can push it in if you're lucky. Oh, there we go. This is concerning to me. I'm going to address this whenever I should probably get some new seam sealer too. Strip all this off. It may not look that bad on camera, but it's still solid, but it's still, I mean, moisture comes in right here, and the T-tops don't help things. All this has got to be fixed. There's going to be a video when the interior is stripped, and I'm going to sand the floors and clean them. So just push the top in, and then just push it up. She'll come through. I got to try and feed this through the fender now, which is going to be the fun part. Should go up top and try and see what I got going on. Can't remember if there's a clip right there or not. And there was. It's right here. And if you need to get to that, don't be lazy like me, undo your fender well, and you can see it right in here. Which I thought about doing, but then I just Gave it a little bit of a manpower yank. They couldn't have made it engineered any better at 3rd gens, I swear. What a nightmare trying to get that huge grommet from the interior through here. I need to take this whole heater box assembly off because I got a replacement where this one's damaged. That would have been smart to do that first. I should have did that first because I'm going to have to do that. Maybe another video. But this whole grommet right here is such a pain to get through. I'm not sure what else. It looks like melting, but I know it's not. It's glue or something. And this is all the crap that came from the inside. Now we need to get it disconnected on the driver's side. Try and disconnect all the relays off the firewall. I'll probably drop this bolt. The other one's up there. Now I've got more room to access this. Well, I thought I would. That's for my gauges. So I may just cut all that and rewire that anyways. So this is where you need to be. There's just so much junk on 3rd gen. There's a bolt right there on the inside. Now, if I remember right, it's a 5.5, a 5.5 millimeter. I'm going to double check. That's a 7 millimeter. It seems to be turning, but I can't remember if there is a nut on the interior under the dash. I'm about to go check. It doesn't seem like it's on there. As I said, the interior is going to need some serious cleaning. This was one of my toggle switches. The other one's over there. If you still have this cover on your wiring harness, you gotta pop this off, which is no fun to do with the seat in the car. No nut on the center. A little bit of a yank. It is a 7 millimeter, or at least my 7 millimeter turned up. Cruise control and the washer fluid stuff out of the way. So much junk in this wiring. Okay, here is where you need to separate your harness. This is your headlights and accessories like your wipers. This is the harness that runs to all that crap from the tune port injection. So when you disconnect this, you want to leave this whole bulk, which is stuck together, unless you're going to rewire it. The bolt goes through to this anyways. So we need to get our accessories, which comes off this clip, just like that. And then this should stay, I believe. Let's see here, what is still connected? This. Alright. Let me get a wire in. The last thing I'm going to do for today on this part is my wiring that went to my A-pillar gauges. I got my fusible link I wired in right there. I want to get this pulled out. But I got another zip tie over here. I want to redo all of this anyways. Now the vacuum line to the Cruise control needs replaced. I am going to look into keeping that for the LS. And all these I ran through the grommet, which is MIA if you had a manual. So I'm going to feed this through. My fan wiring too. What is this? Ugh. Yep, I did rip the vacuum line. That's okay, it needs to be replaced. Cruise control cable. This is what I've been waiting on. I'm not going to get rid of this, obviously, even though they sell for a pretty good bit on a tune port injection, because I'm going to have to pull my wiper wiring out and redo it. Look at that. That's probably, this is easily 20 pounds, maybe even 30. Here are the LS swap motor mounts for a 3rd gen. You can get these from Hawks for real expensive, but I don't mess with them, so I buy an off brand. And the welds look good, the paint's good. There's no point in paying overpriced for Hawk stuff. You can get it anywhere else for half the price. There they are. They're labeled left and right. I got it upside down. These will be mounted to the engine cradle. These will be mounted to the 5.3, just like I did it before on the LS1. I did in a 86 Firebird and a 86 Trans Am, and we'll do them on the next video. Like I said, I'm not going to put the LS swap motor mounts in tonight because I want to clean these bolts and I want to sand and paint the actual mounts on the clamshells, and I need to find 2 more washers. Anyway, stay tuned. This poor neglected Trans Am has got a long way to go, and we're going to LS swap this car. Still got to do interior, suspension. We've got a lot to do. We got to get the motor in. We got to get the heads redone. Please subscribe. Come along for the ride. Enjoy the build, or if you just need tips, watch me complete this 5.3 swap in my 87 Trans Am. That's it for part 1 on the 87 Trans Am LS swap. And thank you once again for watching my junk.